Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video. And today we're going to look at all the blue cards that were spoiled last week for the Draft Box 6 Giants Force, which comes out I think in like 3 weeks or so. It's already coming up. But yeah, and this is going to be a little bit more, I guess, casual. This is just looking at the cards. All of them kind of like on a high scale, and just the cards I like a lot. And from there, so I won't go over every card in detail. If you want that kind of video, make sure to watch the Cyberman video, the release video. They go over every card in a lot of detail. And I just want to give my own thoughts based on kind of interactions I'm seeing and potential deck building opportunities in the future. So first off, pretty much if you haven't seen these cards, a lot of this is kind of is around this whole Bardock crew, which I'm super down for. I really do like this archetype, and it's been far too long since they got some really good support. They're kind of like teased a little bit of blue-yellow support like a year ago, and then nothing happened with it. So it's cool that it finally got not only support, but official like blue-yellow support, and like this Bardock Legends of Origin and this Imparted Wishes tour. All of the cards, very, very cool. So I like that idea. Is something I think a lot of decks are already skewing for with trying to make it meta. And I'd say like the big restriction to these cards are that most of them just involve a blue sand leader, and then some of them specifically call out the blue Bardock leader. So real quick, we're just going to look at those. I just typed in blue and sand, and as you can see, there's just already a bunch of blue sand leaders that are already very meta viable, right? We've got Vegeta, we've got the Super Saiyan Son Goku, we've got the Invoker. I don't think you're running Invoker, but you could do it if you wanted. We've got the reboot Son Goku, who's been showing up more and more lately as well. We've got old favorites like Vegeta, and I guess new favorites like Vegeta. I think this card could actually be really good for this deck, because you have a lot of evolve that comes from the energy area, and same thing with the reboot SS3. Where since you get to do that, you can really just cheat out cards if you lock out on the top deck, and you can really take advantage of it. Something else you can do is that you can use this blue Vegeta leader as well, and you can have like Tournament of Power Arena, and then you can kind of pair it up with Zeno, where you play the card from Zeno, and you can find the ape that you need, and then turn 2 like guarantee you get some evolve. So I think there's a lot of cool things you can do with this, and just kind of the open-ended of having a blue Saiyan leader is good, because there's just so many good blue Saiyan leaders in this game, because there's so many Gokus, and he usually does skew more blue. So let's see. What else? I think that's all the other cards. But let's talk about. I guess we can even do. If we want to do a wish leader, we can also do it. But I don't think that makes super sense right now. But let's look at this Bardock as well. Also, we can use Kefla too, because Kefla is blue yellow. Unfortunately, you have to run Universe 6 stuff for her to get like a lot of value for it. But she's good at getting multicolor cards from your drop here back to your hand as well. So maybe we could see Surge Kefla do something. It's been a slow start for Kefla as well, but. I think there's at least some potential for it. But if we look at the blue Bardock's crew, this is the only Bardock's crew leader in the game at the moment. But it has an auto burst 2. When this card attacks a leader card, draw 1, and this card gets plus 5k power for duration of the turn. And then awaken when your life is at 4 less. You may choose 2 of your energy, untap him, and flip it over. And then auto sparking 5. When this card attacks, draw 1 card, and this card gets plus 5k power for the duration of the turn. So that's kind of nice, having that free plus 5k. And also auto, this is not once per turn. When this card is attacked, if a Bardock's crew is in your drop area, you may choose 1 card in your life, place in your drop area. If you do, negate the attack. So if you know that your opponent's going to have like something like a big victory strike or anything like that, you can really shut them off preemptively, which is really nice. And it can really pair up with, like, if you have like Flying Nimbus or something, right? Because if you're running yellow now, you can use Flying Nimbus. You can prevent all their attacks. You can know like for sure that they have one more attack, and so you can just use this auto to kind of ping it down and buy yourself another turn. Also, I mean, you also have the potential to use the secret rare, the baby Hatchiyak as well, so there's some defensive options there. I think this leader's good in some ways. It has to swing on a leader, which kind of sucks, but it does get the plus 5k when you do that. And the burst skill is really nice. I think like burst works well with blue Unison decks in the way that the new effects for them, kind of blue's thing for all this like green's effect is like getting rid of tokens, red effect is adding tokens, yellow's effect is resting Unison cards, I guess, and then blue is just returning them from the field or from like your own from the field or drop area to your hand. And so if you can just mill a bunch of Unisons with your burst 2, you're able to get free value off the cards that, you know, add them to your hand. So there's some potential there. It kind of has some synergy, I guess. Burst 2 isn't a huge amount, but it's better than like any of these that don't burst any. I guess like Son Goku you can like discard from your hand. And I don't know, bottom of the deck too. Oh man, they really didn't want SS3 to be broken, huh? All right, but looking back at the card list, we're just going to start at the bottom, and we're going to look at some. We got one Unison. I'm 99% sure that there's going to be another Unison. I think every color has like their own like campaigns rare Unison as well. But the Cybermen. I don't think this helps out the Bardock's idea for the deck, but you are able to just, you know, +1, place a Cyberman token, and then you can also -1, you can remove one Cyberman token from the game, choose it to one of your opponent's battle cards, any cost 2 or less, and place it at the bottom of your deck. So it's alright. It's not crazy. I think Zeno's better than this, like in almost any deck, but if you need to play a lot, if there's any like synergy down the line with Cyberman tokens, I think this could have a lot of potential. We've got Intersecting Fates. This is a really interesting card. So if your leader's blue, look at the top 2 cards from your deck, add one among them to your hand, then place the remaining at the bottom of your deck in any order. At the end of the turn, switch up to one of your mono blue energy to active mode. So this is just like a free search that just delays a turn. So that's fine-ish. Like it's okay. You gotta look at top 2 for what you want as well. If you got to choose if you want to keep it on top or bottom, I think this card would be a little bit more viable, because then you could decide if you wanted to keep that card, or also if you had a way to burst it into the drop area, and you can make sure you know what you're dropping. I think that could have some merit. But I don't know. This seems like a little bit of an older card, like something that existed like a year would have been fine. But I think the game's a little bit too fast. That even though it is technically a free search, I'm not sure how much play it would see. But it has some potential. Like card draw is card draw, and it's, you know, it's essentially a net 0 energy card draw. But we'll have to see if people make use of it. Flame Bullet, if your leader card is blue, negate the attack and switch up to one of your mono blue battle cards to active mode. If you look at some of the, I'm going to just bring it up. So if you look at the old Bardock crew stuff that came out, like, once again, like almost 2 years ago, crazy. 5, right? Yeah, Final Strike Bardock. So you can only have, it has unique, essentially, barrier, and when this card switches from rest mode to active mode, if your leader's Bardock crew, you make your opponent, you know, bottom deck one of their cards in their hand. So there's card destruction, right? So I gotta like this archetype. But so that's just kind of the idea for this, is like, oh, you can, you know, go have your Bardock, unrest it, and you get to draw a card. Make your opponent discard a card and also negate the attack, so that's fine. He doesn't have blocker, but that's fine-ish. What else? We're going to talk about these guys probably in another video. I don't want to talk about it today. This card's good though in general. You should probably run this card in the deck anyways, because it's just a draw 1 and it's a barrier, and just the fact that you can have a Bardock's crew on your side of the field that's really hard to get rid of, I think is good. Despite, like, even if it didn't have the second effect, which we'll talk about later in another video probably, if I want to. If I want to really if I want to subject myself to that. But just being a 1-drop Bardock's crew that draws 1 with barrier is great. We also have like the old Borgos, which is more or less the same, right? If we look at the old Borgos, the 1-drop, so what? Yeah, during your opponent's turn, if your opponent switches to their energy to active mode using a non-awakened skill, you can choose one of your opponent's energy to place its owner's drop. So it's like if like you have both these guys out on the board, your opponent has a really hard time on offense or defense using cards to, like, this only stops counter stuff, but I don't think it's good, but like you could do that if you wanted to. So there's also Fascia. This is a really interesting card. I like the card design on this one a lot. So it's a burst 2, which means that helps, you know, fill your drop area with like Unisons and other cards that you'd want down there. But if your leader card's blue Saiyan and you add 1 card from your life to your hand, this card attacks, get plus 10k power for the turn. At the end of the turn, if your leader card is a blue Bardock's crew, you can add up to 1 card from your life to your hand as well. So this can go like +2 awakening, which is nice. It's at end of turn, which kind of balances it as well. But just being able to not get stalled out on life, I think is a really good effect. So, you know, you can just get yourself down to 5, which just means like if your opponent swings, your opponent will be not wanting to swing one more time on you, but you know, you just make them have some like tough decisions. So I like this card a lot, and obviously she can go into her ape form as well. We've got Downfall of Pride. This one's neat. So active main, if your leader card is blue, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, any cost 5 or less, place it at the bottom of its owner's deck, which is really good as long as you're not playing against like a servant deck, I guess. But and then you can choose up to one of your blue Unison cards in your Unison area or drop area and return it to its owner's hand. So this is kind of what I'm talking about for blue. So this technically goes +2 for 2 energy, so it's on par with cards like the Goku Ape and like Ribrianne, but it doesn't play from the drop area, and it's really specific on the cards you get rid of. But it can get rid of a 5-drop for 2 energy, which is good energy economy, I guess. I don't know. I think like this could be like a good sideboard card for decks that want to be more mid-range control-y and run a bunch of Unisons. I think like the hardest thing about this is that the best Unison for blue right now is Zeno, right? And it's hard to get rid of Zeno, honestly. You probably just keep it out there for the entire game. And so it'd have to be some kind of other Unison that you're using. And I've got some ideas for that as well, but I don't know. It's just kind of weird because you can't just easily pitch Unison cards. I guess you can do it by, if you have like a duplicate, you can add another token to one, and then you can get it back. But I don't know. We'll see. 2's kind of expensive, but you also get a removal, so it's good. I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll have to see on that. Riot Javelin, kind of in a similar spot, but as a counterattack. If your leader's blue, negate the attack, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards at any cost of 5 or less. Ignoring barrier returns to its owner's hand. Return to hand kind of stinks in this game, and I mean that in the sense of most cards that are played because they have a really good auto when this card is played, right? And so being able to flute something back into your opponent's hand is normally not super duper good, but it has definitely its moments at the same time, right? So I think it's all right. It can kind of go like 2 for 1 in a lot of ways and get rid of like some troublesome cards, but I'm not sure. I'd have to see. It's also 2 specific blue, so you can't like energy cost reduce it. And I don't know. Is this card better than Mafuba, right? That's kind of like the idea in this, where it's a 2-cost negate where you can kind of remove a card. Mafuba kind of stops a card outright no matter what, where this card can kind of stop 2 attacks potentially. Let's say you're swinging at the leader and you do this and you pop back one of their 5-drops back to their hand. That's probably okay, but I don't know. I think most people are swinging with their battle cards first and their leader cards second now, just because they know that their leaders are safe from most things getting disrupted and everything. So I don't know. This card, it looks super sick. The art looks sick, and it has potential to me, but I'm not sure how good it's going to be right out the gate. We've got these pirate guards. I'm not going to talk about them too much, but pretty much they summon Shield Army's token, which is kind of nice. We got some more generators for that, and it's also kind of blue yellow. I think Shield doesn't have like enough support to do what he wants in his decks. I think he just needs either a better archetype or a better leader. But these are fine. They're also not like specific to any leader or anything either, so that's fine. But they're both 2-drop counters with 2 specific energies, so you can't cheat them out with Baby, which is probably fine as well. But if there's more Shield Army token support, then these cards can. I think they could see play, but right now not so much. All right, Nappa, which is nice, I guess, because you can. It's a vanilla, which also has an EX evolve, so you can like cheat this out and then EX evolve it, which is kind of nice. Shugesh is kind of cool when you swing with it, just draws 1. But once again, like this would have been, I think, really good. Like on the release when this card, like when Bardock's Crew came out, this would have been a good card for that. But now I feel like this is a little bit too slow of an effect in general, especially if you don't have Child's Wish. Like this would have been a good Child's Wish target, but we don't have that card no more. Let's see. Tora, when this card is used in a combo during your opponent's turn, choose it to one of your blue Bardock's Crew and your battle area, switch to active mode. So this is kind of alright for like fixing, like if you have like cards in rest mode, it can become like a 10k combo by fixing that, and kind of stuff like being able to like get that Bardock back in active mode. I don't think you have a way to put it back in rest mode after you active mode it, so that's kind of weird, but that's fine. And let's go through. I don't know. So we got Vegeta here. This is just like a good self-awakener because I don't think he has a grade 8 form. But you can add 1 card from your life to your hand when this card attacks. Choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards. Cost of 4 or less. Return it to the owner's hand and switch this card to active mode. So this kind of has like dual attack for 1 energy with 15k, which is fine. It's 2 cost though, which is kind of costly. And then I mean you get to return something. It's okay value, but it's not. I don't think it's super great, especially since he doesn't like go into anything from there. Bardock, the Final Spark. He has this permanent. This card can't. This skill can't be negated in area. This skill can't be negated in any area. My goodness. And this card can't be played from any area using skills, which means there's something that if this didn't exist, there's a way to break it. I could probably find it, but my guess is like some of the blue trunk stuff that put like Saiyans in their energy or something. But if your leader card is a blue Saiyan card, when this card's KO'd by opponent's skill, play this card in your energy from your drop area. So that's kind of nice, being able to, you know, have this guy be kind of invincible. Like, it has like barrier, but I don't know. It's all right. It's not bad. It's fine. It just means like you can go into your ape without your opponent wanting to like KO this, which is fine. We've got Shield Grace, Pirate in the Cosmos. So this is actually kind of neat. It doesn't really fit the chilled thing, but it works for a lot of like skillless decks in general. Where for just one blue, if this card attacks, deals damage. Sorry. So I'm going to start from the bottom because the bottom effect is probably where you start. So if you have 3 or more energy, choose one skillless battle card in your hand, discard it, play this card from your hand, so you can play it for free, which is nice. And then, like, even no matter what deck you're in, just being able to play 19k by discarding one card from your hand is a good effect. And then for one blue, if this card attacks, deals damage to an opponent, or removes a marker from its opponent's unison card, play up to one blue skillless battle card with any cost of 3 or less from your deck or drop area, then shuffle your deck if you look through it. So what this is really good at is that if you have if your opponent has like a unison out, you can really force out negates in a lot of ways. Because either you for 0 energy, you can just play this guy by dropping a card, and then you can swing into their unison and say, okay, either you negate the attack and you waste your negate on this, you know, free swing of mine essentially, or you're able to get the damage in, play one blue, and then you get a big old 30k, you know, skillless battle card, which was probably what you drop from your hand, right? So for 1 energy, you get 2 swings, one's a 19k and one's a 30k, which is absurd. So I think that's really good value for skillless decks. If there's any blue variants, they'll definitely play this guy, and I think he's really good for that kind of archetype. And like real quick too, so you can go into Bardock, and then from Bardock you can go, like, you can play Bardock for free. And you have to do this on turn 3 because of his active main, and so you can do Bardock, and then you have 2 energy open, and then you can use Bardock Great Ape Assault, which it costs EX Evolve for 2, and so that's your entire 3 energy for the turn. And then this also has an effect that if your leader card is a blue Saiyan card, when a card in your energy evolves into this card, draw 1, and then it has to be energy. Never mind, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about the apes. So the big thing about these is that they all have these EX evolves, but you can use cards in your energy to do the evolve skill, and then you just play in active mode. So that's kind of nice. It kind of eats into your energy, but I think there's ways to kind of cheat around this, especially like if you think of like Zeno, you can, you know, Zeno something, and then if you top deck, like what I was talking about earlier with the Vegeta leader, which one? I'll find this guy. So if you have this guy, you had Tournament of Power Arena turn 1, you can kind of look at the top 3, you can rearrange it how you want it, you can make sure you get what you want in your energy with Zeno, and then from there you're able to put your Great Ape in you can put your card in your energy, and then you can, you know, use that card for your ape plays, which I think is, you know, moderately kind of good. But so all the apes, we've got Borgos, Barrier, Blue on a also, you can also just evolve these guys on top of themselves too, because they're not restricted to not Grade 8 versions. So if you have this Borgos in your energy and 1 in your hand, you can just pay 1 blue and evolve it there. So yeah, so once per turn, choose 1 blue. So it's unique barrier. Choose 1 blue Bardock's crew in your battle area. Other than copies of this card, switch to active mode, then negate that card's skills for the turn. So that can be kind of nice to fix your blockers or something like that. So you can like swing a Shugesh, and then if you also have Borgos out, you can restand it. So that's kind of nice. Shugesh has the effect. Same thing. So they all have this EX Evolve thing. And when this card is KO'd, choose up to 1 of your blue Bardock's crew with any cost of 5 or less in your hand, and play it with skills negated for the turn. I think this card's pretty good. It's kind of hard to KO this guy with 19k, but it doesn't have to be by your own. It can be by anything. It can be your own skills or anything like that. So that I think that has potential. You don't have a lot of ways in blue to KO your own stuff, honestly. But the nice thing about this though is that it pairs really, really well with 2 cards. One, the idea I already have for it is the Vegeta leader. So if you want this card in the deck, because if they KO it, then you get to untap an energy, draw a card, and play something for free. But then if you pair that also with the blue Unison, this one from the star deck, either this one or also the 3-drop one from the promos, they both have this permanent of if your leader card is a blue Saiyan card, and you have a blue Saiyan card in rest mode, your leader doesn't take damage from attacks. So you can just, you know, have these big old apes, you know, have this effect, and then like for example Shugesh, if they don't want to, like, they have to either go into your Unison cards or they have to go into your Shugesh to get this effect off, which is fine. Especially like if you look at like the Super Saiyan 3 Gogeta. Like he's just such a big body too, so they have to swing 3 times into this 20k, or they have to get over this 19k that has blocker. Like it just has like a lot of good effects that that really works well together. So I think that's also like a potential for a deck idea too. So and just being able to play a 5-drop for free on turn 3, I think is good. Let's see. We also have Fascia, so 20k crit for 1 energy, which is really nice. And then if your leader card is Blue Saiyan, when a card in your energy evolves into this card, if you have less energy than your opponent, add the top card from your deck to your energy. So this really only occurs either when you're negging your energy a lot, or you've got you go second, because if you play this card from your energy, so let's say you go for second, right? Then let's say you just charge a Fascia and then you EX evolve the Fascia turn 1. You can play this big 20k crit, and then the Fascia effect goes in effect, and then you just play the top card from your energy, from your deck into your energy. So like that's fine. That's a good turn 1 play. It's a lot of pressure, and then you have this big 20k crit that you have to kind of your opponent has to deal with over starting on turn 1, which is kind of sucky. And so I think it's fine. Obviously, if you're going first, it doesn't do as well. And I think this one is fine. It puts a lot of pressure on it, but it's kind of weird that how it's so skewed to being a good turn 2 card compared to a turn 1 card, in my opinion. We've also got, let's see, King Vegeta, the distrustful. Jeez. When this card is played, choose up to 1 blue unison card in your unison area, drop it, return it to its owner's hand. Then at the end of the turn, switch it to one of your mono blue energy to active mode. So this is like one of those, as I was saying before, ways to get your unison cards back, which is kind of weird. But you can choose 1 mono blue card from your hand, discard it when an opponent attacks to gate the attack, and then gate this card skill for the game. I don't think that's broken. I think for the turn would have been fine, but it is what it is. And so this can EX evolve into this ape. It can also go into, I believe, the other one. Let's look it up live. Yeah, it just has to be a King Vegeta, so you can just go into the other one. So if you're playing like a hard blue-yellow strategy, you can totally do it. If you want to get into this guy. Also, like I think it goes without saying, you can use the apes for March of the Great Apes to get through all these cards. So any of the 4 or less apes. So you can play Fascia for free, you can play Tora for free, Shugash and Borgos. They made the, I think, wise decision to make it so King Vegeta and Bardock Great Ape Assault are both kind of restricted to 5, so they can't just cheat them out. But that's something to think about too. This one it has triple strike. You play 3 blue for a blue King Vegeta. And then when this card is played, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, return it to their owner's hand. So this is all right. I don't think it's crazy. I think this ape is probably better because you're able to reduce the combo cost by 1 per everything, and this card gets barrier and has double strike, so that's kind of nice. And also these guys, only King Vegeta is a 10k. Everything else is 5k combos, which is also kind of nice. Tora, you have the effect, it's just a big blue blocker as well, but at the end of your turn you can switch this card to active mode, so you can always swing with it and then it comes back. And if your other card is Blue Saiyan, when this card is carried by opponent's skill, place this card in your energy from your drop here. So it kind of has the same effect as the Bardock as well. So you either have a blocker or your opponent gives you 1 extra energy to do stuff with. So I think that's fine. And we also have this Bardock. We already kind of touched on him too, but I think he's fine for the deck as well. He's a big double strike. He doesn't have unique, so you can get a bunch out as well. And this one's kind of more passive aggressive, where you get him out like turn 3, and then you're being able to draw a card and untap for 1 helps out. So it pretty much, since you use 2 cards for this and 2 energy, you technically only got and then you replace the energy and the card you drew. For 1 energy and 1 card, you can get this card out, which is kind of nuts. And it's a big double strike, and it's this goes in active mode as well, so you have a big blocker. But it's only the turn that you play this, so you don't get this at the end of every turn, which I think balances it out. But this could be a really strong turn 2 play, where you just play this for 2 from your energy, and then you go from there into, because you have to play it from a blue Bardock with 8 costs 2 or more. You can't just play like a 1-drop and then go into it turn 2. But just being able to do that, and then you have this big old double strike blocker, and you can just kind of go from there. Everything else real quick, so blue yellow stuff, I like the idea. This having Aegis has a cool potential. It's also blue yellow and has blocker as well as Tora, which kind of works well with this Tora. So if there was a Vegito with the blue leader Vegito, where is he? This guy. I think this card has potential to be blue yellow now with Tora. Just being able to have this card in your deck, and then you can this has blocker too, and it's a Saiyan, and it's a blue Saiyan, which is all these things are nice. But you can add up to one Bardock's crew card from your energy to your hand. When this card is KO'd, negate this card's energy exhaust skill and place it in your energy from your drop area. So you really like if this card gets KO'd, you're able to kind of cycle through your energy. You get this card in your energy for free. You get to like untap 2, and then draw 1 with the Vegito stuff too. So I think this card's okay. Really good at just having flexibility and energy. And then this guy, this only works for the Bardock leader, but it's a really good effect. So unique blocker, rival for blue, yellow for only 1 blue. If you have a blue Bardock's crew in play, negate this card's energy exhaust in all areas, which is also really nice. At the end of your turn, switch this card to active mode. If your leader card is blue Bardock's crew, draw 2 cards. So you can just easily, turn 1, charge a blue, and then when your opponent swings, this also is like a card that's better turn 2, I think, actually, because on your turn 1 you swing, you just easily combo a blue and a yellow. You're able to get this out for 1 blue energy. You have this big blocker that you can also swing onto if you have like a Unison or something that you want to swing into, and you bring it back to active mode, and then you get to draw 2 cards. So you get to really replace itself, and you got this big old monkey. So, or I guess Bardock saying it's not a monkey yet, but then you can go into the monkey. And I'll talk about the Invoker, like red-blue cards later. Gene's pretty good too, because you can play a skillless battle card for 2 or less, which can also be this Nappa, which then you can evolve into this 4-drop Nappa. This one's fine. It's only when it's attacked, but you get to untap a blue energy every turn, pretty much when this swings. And it's a 20k double strike, so it's not nothing to shake us. It's fine. It's fine stat-wise and damage-wise, and so that's kind of cool that you can kind of do that for like 3 energy. And I think that's really all I want to talk about. I'll probably make a deck for these guys on my next stream, which I'm thinking is going to be Wednesday. Don't hold me to it. That's why I'm saying at the end of the video instead of the beginning of the video. But I think there's a lot of cool stuff with it. It's a little bit archetype restrictive, but you get to the archetype's so big where you get to choose the cards you like from the archetype and put that archetype into a leader that you want to play as well, right? Because once again, we've got a lot of good blue Saiyan leaders. A lot of them I think might have viable and have potential. So being able to choose your favorite leader and then pick the cards for the archetype and kind of strategy you want around it, I think is really cool. So that's it from me. Let me know what you guys think about these blue cards. Let me know which leader you want a deck from with this Bardock stuff, and I'll catch you all next time.